let's just jump in to the next subject, ma'am.
Right.
So what's going on?
So AOC, of course, surprisingly, once again, is betraying the left with her whole reduce Medicare instead of Medicare for all. Now, she campaigned. The reason this is such a big deal is because she campaigned with a lot of poor people's money, a lot of working class people who gave her money. She wore masks that said Medicare for all. She weaponized this whole and profited off of being this, I'm going to get you Medicare for all. I'm going to fight for 15, all this stuff. We all know the force of vote. We don't have to go over it again. She didn't do that. And now she went on Meet the Press. And basically, if you look at her language, we don't have to watch the whole thing. We're only going to watch a few, like a minute and a half of it or less. But she basically is running, again, PR for the Biden administration, criticizing him when she's allowed to criticize him, but really falling in line every single time. And a lot of people completely just ignored this. A lot of her defenders online ignored this and instead focused on smearing organizers who are trying to do direct action for Medicare for all. Whether you agree with Medicare for all or not, the fact that people are doing something to get something done is more than what's been done before. And so here it's at 53 seconds to 2 minutes. Jonny is a YouTube video for Meet the Press. Okay, 1 second.
What he said on Thursday seemed to cheer progressives. Do you think are you a little upset by the walk back that he made yesterday, or do you consider it a walk back at all?
I think regardless of the president's statements, there are three key chess pieces that we need to align to pass any legislation. As we know, there's the Senate, there's the House, and there's the White House as the presidency. And so I believe that, the president is more than able to take his own approach. But I believe that we also have to talk about this missing piece, which is the House. And I believe that in the House and House Democrats are very committed to making sure that, in Senator Cassidy's words, that infrastructure is very centered on women. And in addition to a bridge, you need a babysitter. And it's very important that we pass a reconciliation bill and a families plan that expands child care, that lowers the cost of Medicare, that supports families in the economy.
Would you like the president to be issuing a veto?
She sounds like Elizabeth Warren. Legit. I mean, she sounds like Elizabeth Warren. Or perhaps worse. She sounds like Nancy Pelosi 30 years ago when Nancy Pelosi was saying that we would get health care and 30 years later. I mean, she sounds different. She sounds more like a shit lib, if that's possible. More just making excuses. Yeah, like it's almost like she's not enjoying this. Like her face is very robotic. It's just really I was like, this is so weird. Chess pieces and this and that. Like it. I don't know.
Steve, give us your thoughts on the theater just performed to us by AOC. The theater, sir.
Sandy is an Instagram influencer with a seat in Congress, and she's behaving exactly like an Instagram influencer who got elected to Congress, who now has to go out and say whatever shitty, stupid, completely removed from whatever you built your brand on, and have bilked all these poor, well-meaning, 100% the most gullible section of the entire political spectrum ever in the Progressive Party, in the DSA left. Most gullible. I realize there are people who thought that Donald Trump was hand-selected by Jesus to lead the game. I'm saying that the progressives are more gullible than those people because they're still going to give Sandy their money.
Yeah.
They are. And she's doing this. Because she has to, if she wants to keep getting all of the favors that she'll be getting from the Democratic Party and from Nancy Pelosi going forward. I said it and got shit for it in real time as soon as they started campaigning, and as soon as they were, especially when they were like sworn in as that next Congress. AOC and the squad is here to inherit Nancy Pelosi's power, not take it away from her. And if you can't understand this, it's going to be a really tough, however long until you figure it out going forward.
Yeah. I mean, well, half of the crap that we get is because of our pushback against, what do you call her? What's her name?
Sandy.
Okay, yeah. Half of the attention, the crap we get is because of that. Because we call out those things that we've seen in real time since for God knows how long. And, but it is kind of disheartening that you see a lot of Trump people who are still praising him and the progressives that are praising Sandy. It's just
it was Sandy. It was
By
Sandy
design.
Cortez with an S when she was going to private school.
Yeah. I
The acceptable spelling
Looked
of
into all of
Cortez,
that.
the white passing spelling of Cortez, which is like a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's why I like having Steve on the show. He gives you even new and more exciting ways. Just when you thought you've done everything and you said everything that you can possibly call the squad, Steve presents another angle. Thank you, Steve. We love you.
Q have somebody saying that's a right-wing talking point because some Republicans
It's going to be.
said it.
It's probably being dropped on Twitter as we speak.
So Michael,
I have been called the gateway to the alt-right.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
have.
there you go. Welcome.
Gateway
Steve.
drug to the alt-right. That's
Christ.
I'm not fucking kidding. I was one of Campbell's little fucking shitworms.
Shitlibs. Michael David, what a name, said AOC on Meet the Press just now, we have to pass legislation to make Medicare more affordable. Mama Bear is so proud of her baby bear.
Aww.
Mama Bear. Okay.
Baby Bear getting Bear getting two
I don't wanna
scoops of that Jenny's ice cream.
I don't know why somebody didn't have
That's
like a
what the
meme.
Baby Bear gets.
I just
she
wanna
might get
show
two
this
whole
picture,
pints
Johnny.
sent to her, special from Mama. Mama
There
Bear
she is.
might be giving her own little mini freezer full of Jenny's for the hard work she's been putting in.
They should show that meme of the bear helping its baby bear out of the pool, saying, "Here you go, Sandy. Let me help you out."
On screen now for the good folks at home.
Yes,
Johnny,
it is.
Oh, it's beautiful, dude. That is. It's
I don't know who did this meme, but
good work.
We
thank
feed
you.
them.
We redistribute the memes.
solid.
I mean, this just says everything you need to know because Nancy Pelosi advocated for healthcare for all, universal healthcare years ago.
Yep.
AOC is following in her steps, like Steve said. She's replacing.
signs in my basement too. I'm fucking Skeletor.
Those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. It is the same exact thing.
It's the same exact thing.
I've been telling people for years now, Americans as a rule don't know our own history, let alone the history of any other fucking country, and it's going to bite us in the ass every single time. The whole reason that I value each and every moment that we've had with Reverend Annie is because she's living goddamn history.
Yeah.
And it's living history from the version you're not allowed to see when you're growing up. Like Howard Zinn would be happy about that. He would be. I heard Howard Zinn evoked at the Home Run for Julian event in Oakland. Alice Walker, the poet, brought him up, and nobody talked. Like, I see lip service paid to the fact that Howard Zinn wrote People's History of the United States, but for all of these Reed Theory motherfuckers and shit like that, like you don't see them incorporating any actual real United States history and apply it in terms of their Reed Theory motherfucker. It's the disconnect is
because
gaping
it's
and
done for
weird.
elitist back patting rather than like for actually trying to learn something. It's done to be able to say, oh, I am an intellectual, I have read this, rather than to actually humble yourself and be like, oh, I learned something new I didn't know. And now I'm going to pick up something else that may be something different. I don't know, but they can't do that because they have to stay in their own little bubbles. And this is why you don't play team sports, Steve. And I have to point this out because this has been dominating the internet back and forth for months now, right? AOC going at it with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm not a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm not a fan of AOC. I think both of them are tools that allow these culture war vultures to use them to continue this high school back and forth drama. And this is what I said. I said it's wonderful to see our hardworking Congress members. By the way, we pay them $174,000 a year, focusing on America's most pressing issues like height and inaccurate juvenile name calling, because we know AOC is nowhere near a communist. She's nowhere near a leftist. She's a typical PR politician, on point for the reality TV trash American politics has festered into. Because look at who was our president. Look, Instagram influencers, right, are now Congress members. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene calling her a commie. You have AOC talking about being taller than Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then you have this whole back and forth, and you have people on both ends of the spectrum of the aisle paying attention and trying to prop up one or the other, saying this one's bad, but this one isn't. It's this one's fault. What the fuck is why aren't we talking about what the Biden administration is doing? Why aren't you pushing out legislation to counteract that?
Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Exactly. Because Stone Cold says so.
But it is.
It is.
That's exactly what that. It's fucking. This is WWE shit.
It is.
It is. And if you like, from an entertainment perspective, like, that's adorable. That's fucking hilarious. And I'm kind of wet right now. I am. No lie. But like, for people who are pretending to be or ostensibly supposed to be, in a sense, in charge of all of our day-to-day lives, to be doing this WWE shit. Not only is it insulting and degrading to the intent of governance in the fucking first place, not that I'm personally paying a lot of lip service to that, but I believe that there are people who believe in, you know, the United States as a representative republic and shit like that. The marketing. Right? But for them to be carrying on like this when they're supposed to actually be doing anything other shows you that it's all a fucking production. This is the government we're allowed to see.
Yeah. And a lot of the people that jump into all these conversations, as I was reading some of their comments, are like the people you see at a wrestling match. They actually think it's real in the audience and stuff. And seeing all the way the Sam Cedar Crowder situation and stuff like that, it just reminds me of that scene from Spaceballs when he goes, "How many assholes I got on this thing?" And everybody goes, "Hey!" All of them. He goes, "Jesus Christ, I'm surrounded by assholes. All right, put your helmet down. Keep firing, asshole. You just got to go with it because we are surrounded by assholes." And people buying into this shit is just, watching people argue on this, reading the thread, it was like, this is ridiculous here. We cannot be saved. Plug me back into the Matrix. Plug me back in.
So while this is happening, while AOC is throwing out, healthcare for all, there were people that organized a March for Medicare for All. And I have to bring this up because, I support direct action. We've said it on the show. Whether or not that does anything right now at this point that we are, pretty much entering fascism, right? With what's happening with labeling everybody a white domestic terrorist, labeling everybody a radical, with the technocratic takeover that's happening, with the whole vaccine propaganda and how that was completely just manipulated and used to cause fear in people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People are organizing to get the things they want, whether it's for Julian Assange or Medicare for All. Now, I think that's great. And so what happened was an infiltrator of sorts got into this group, posted an image of a white nationalist guy being a speaker, And of course, the usual people that have been trashing this thing since its inception are using it to say, don't trust this organization, cancel everything, don't do direct action. And I think that's first of all, I think that those people were the ones who did it. Second of all, this is all by design. You cannot let these people dictate the narrative. You cannot let these people push you out of focus. If you're going to do something, do it. These people will never like you. They will never accept you. You don't want their support. Like, you at this point, you don't. You're just got to do the things you got to do. So I just wanted to go over this thread on the march for Medicare for All, huh?
I just want to give some context.
There
is a march for Medicare for All happening. It's a national event that's going to happen on July.
End of July, right?
End of July,
Yep.
I think it was 24th. And then somebody online posted, it looks like an infiltrator who got in and posted a post about a keynote speaker happening in Indiana. And they posted that on IG or something in Twitter.
Instagram, yep.
And then there was a bunch of backlash because the speaker is like a nationalist or something like that.
Right.
So now you can talk.
So I wanted to read the
Douchebag
thread.
from Muncie gonna fuck it all up. You're gonna let one, and I mean, okay. Let me tell you guys something, because I grew up in Anderson, Indiana, which is a town that neighbors Muncie, Indiana. That's where Ball State University is. One of America's more notoriously drunk campuses. Party school. It's a party school. And famous for it. And being a teenager with friends that were at that university.
It's pretty awesome, I bet. Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. I remember being high as fuck on LSD, like being at the little pizza place on campus, trying to pay for shit, just yarding out all of the stuff in my pockets. There's like a bag of weed and a glass pipe, shit like this. Fucking 1990, fucking hardcore jail time for it. It's just Anyway, it is in many ways still very segregated. Muncie is. There's a more hardcore racist element that is in the outlying areas around Muncie. It's one county away from where the former Klan capital of the state was. So it doesn't surprise me at all that something like this would happen. But as organizers, we know that shit like this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And they already put out a statement.
Mm-hmm.
They have already made it very clear that that particular all of these chapters are organizing independently and encouraged to do so, but that's not what we stand for. They're doing everything right, but what is happening that is crazy is that the people who are supposedly supportive of the event and of why it's happening are picking apart everyone.
Yep.
And so that makes it seem like it was orchestrated by some of the people who are doing the loudest picking apart of everyone, when they know full and well that dude, that event, that particular chapter, or whatever they are, does not speak for the entire Medicare for All
Correct.
movement or the national organization, so it's making mountains out of, I don't know, dude, like mouse holes, not even mole, like it's fucking
smaller than molehills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to read it real quick. They said our national collective voted to shut down the event in Muncie, Indiana, in all capacities. March for Medicare for All no longer has any affiliation with the event in Muncie. We unequivocally condemn and denounce the planners in Muncie who made this choice to have the person currently known as Matt H. Bach as a keynote speaker. The Muncie organizers did not go through the proper channels, and the graphic design volunteers weren't aware. The person who submitted the photos to our design team has since disappeared from our workspace. The account disappeared completely. By the way, in case you guys didn't know, if you clicked on the account, it's not there. Over the last several weeks, we have been bombarded with infiltrators wishing to cause confusion and derail this movement. Our volunteers are working diligently to fix the situation and will be setting up new procedures to ensure this does not happen again. While our grassroots volunteers have the freedom to make their own local choices independently, the values of The keynote speaker of the Muncie event did not reflect the rest of the movement at large. March for Medicare for All takes pride in being a non-hierarchical, nonpartisan group which attempts to be inclusive as possible. However, the safety of our volunteers and those we are fighting for comes first. So there you go. That was their statement, and they have a where is it? They have an actual press release they released. It's right. It should be right here.
Yeah, he's got it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it pretty much, I'm kind of a little bit like torn on this, but they said Matthew Heimbach is an absolutely disgusting human being who holds a deplorable and unacceptable belief of white nationalism and is a white nationalist / Nazi. We unequivocally condemn the white nationalism in any capacity. We are disgusted by the actions of the Muncie organizers who acted independently and purposely tried to derail and infiltrate our movement. The National Steering Committee had no knowledge of him until it was brought up to our attention. All events in Muncie have been shut down. Blah, blah, blah. Our organization strongly stands against and condemns all forms of racism, white nationalism, Nazism, bigotry. There's zero tolerance for hate within our organization. I don't know very much about who this guy is.
Who is this guy?
But I just think sometimes
some dude named Matt who was a douchebag.
So no, I don't know. I don't know anything about this guy, but I just want to say I agree with Steve. They're making some people are making a mountain out of a molehill, and you can't validate what these people are saying, because what these people, they have been doing this from the beginning, from the force of vote. These people that have been attacking the organizers because for even having Misty as involved, or having Rome as involved, or even me liking or commenting on something, they keep saying they're aligning with Nazis, Fash Fam, Red Brown, all this stuff. You can't give credence to what those people are saying, is all I'm saying. And sometimes I feel like some people have by making this such a big deal. It really it happens. As organizers, you should know it happens. Infiltrations happen all the time. And that's that I wanted to say on that. In terms of, I wanted to show Misty's status as well, because Misty really had a really great tweet. She said, people that attack hardworking activists and organizers who are trying their best and with very little resources are some of the most despicable cretins around. Do nothing shitbags. I stand in solidarity with the organizers of Medicare for All, March for Medicare for All. They took on a huge responsibility for us. There will always be infiltrators. That's an unfortunate fact. There will also always be people who seek to destroy through other means, like infantile attacks from their couches behind a keyboard. These clowns aren't doing the work. Support those who do. Right? And you have to be careful of like, in your effort to clean up the mess, don't validate these people. Don't validate what the attacks are saying. That's all I got to say on that. I don't know if any of you have any other comments, but
please, Steve, go right ahead.
No, dude, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It already happened. I don't need to.
Oh, we don't have-
I would just be unnecessarily dragging someone who, like, I think could probably get the picture if, like, the brand that he had settled into hadn't become his identity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it amounts to, and I think
Like,
that so many people have done that, have, like, let their brand define who they have to be.
Right.
And,
Or their ideology first.
well,
like,
yeah, but I mean,
which is
for that
part
person,
of the brand, yeah.
it's like, you know, I mean, there's fucking books and shit. Like, it's, you know, a fucking brand. And I guarantee you that dude, in his own mind, and so many of these other people in their own minds, in their quiet moments, hate the fact that their ideology has to determine how they behave and not the other way around.
Right.
The way they behave is what allows them to build and have an ideology and find one that, you know, agrees with what your natural perspective is, you know, and that can come through a lot of learning. It can come through a lot of studying. What it can also, and it has to come from, is practical application. And there's none of that with the fucking keyboard people. And if you're only going to somebody else's event that you got a t-shirt for and they said, okay, you're a volunteer and you're a part of this, and like that's your only experience if it's inside a political movement of activism, you're not going to be able to identify with what's going on, with what happened with those organizers, with what happened with the national organizing. What is it? Experience determines scope of relatability.
Yeah. Just moving along, I just want to say, look, the left is never going to get anything if they nitpick as to, oh, this person talked to a Boogaloo boy. This person is that. This person once voted for a libertarian. You're never going to fucking achieve anything at all. Period. End of story.
Point of personal privilege, Fee. That language is hostile.
It's a working class fucking revolution, motherfucker. It's a working class revolution. The working class includes people you won't agree with, people who voted for the wrong person. The working class is still learning.
Point of personal privilege. This is violence, and
It is violence. I got my ass kicked by a noun last week.
Jesus
Came out
Christ.
of nowhere and beat the shit out of me.
God damn it,
But
the left.
it's the hypocrisy that just drives me crazy.
Well, the left
you know
is their own worst enemy.
It says,
They
oh,
really
this
are.
person is. I heard he was an ex-Breitbart employee, this gentleman, whatever, and stuff like that. Oh, he's a Nazi. You can't work for him. But yay, go AOC in the squad. Has AOC in the squad said shit about fucking Ukraine getting funded by us left and right, that our foreign policy intertwines with actual Nazis that we're supporting?
Look, I'm not advocating for people to work.
Nazis? No.
I'm not advocating for people to work with people that are problematic. I'm just saying
a lot to say about
there's
the
a lot of
Ukrainian neo-Nazi journalist, Romanian neo-Nazi journalist.
Alex Navalny?
No, well, and Navalny.
No.
Roman, what was his name? Petra.
I can't even say his name. The plane that was downed on the way, we had George
Had a lot to
Somwali on
say
here.
about that.
Oh,
Can't
okay,
say
yeah.
Shit
Okay.
about Julian Assange.
Yeah. That dude who was actually fought against the citizens of the Donbass. Part of the Azov battalion, which is a neo-Nazi fashion.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they literally, and Navalny too, who's a nationalist who called people in the Caucasus cockroaches. But that's, let's have some consistency here, right? Please.
We don't have the Rokfin up, so
Well, Johnny wants to read this.
Okay.
Bring this up real quick.
there it is. All right. Okay, so March for Medicare for All, July 24th, 2021. There are marches everywhere across the country, and I do applaud the organization for being decentralized. That is the best way to organize, decentralized. But also, of course, you're going to run into issues. It's normal. It's not the end of the world. Bullying people for something that happened is ridiculous and disgusting, and some people are really upset. And it's just bad. So overall, just I continue to support this march, and anybody that does direct action for things. I think it's absolutely admirable at this point. So guys,
this should be on every college campus.
Yeah,
it should be. Like, just as a boilerplate, very basic issue, and I think a lot of why it's not is because everybody spent a year and a half on lockdown.
Yeah.
The event that we were at yesterday, outdoors.
Yeah. We'll get into that if you want, but
I don't know. I mean, I know that at least for the Bay Area events, it really was pulling teeth to try to get let indoors anywhere, and it's because they went through their contact list and went to all the usual spots that would have let anybody hold an event, and because those people are still super freaked out and super into the narrative, so when it's getting caught in that like bubble of only talking to a handful of people with your activism because that's who you've always worked with. We were kind of talking about this where so many of the people that are making ground-based decisions are removed entirely from that in the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And they would be of so much more value at this point in an advisory capacity, in
Liaise.
Yes.
Just
that is
liaise, baby.
That's a
Liaise.
wonderful way to put it, Pasta, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you just came up with that off the top of your head just now.
I'm witty like that. I'm
you
silly.
are, my friend.
I know.
You are.
And pass the torch to Eric Swalwell, right?
Yeah, Eric, like Eric Swalwell said.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass the torch. But my point is that like we could have found a spot to do it indoors.
Of course.
We already did in the middle of lockdown. We could have done that the same in Oakland, and to their credit, the Islamic Cultural Center of Northern California in Oakland is one of the more beautiful buildings that I've been in, and the people that helped us with the event couldn't have been like nicer and more helpful, and we're like, why are all these people wearing masks, you know? But again, it was, you know, people were double masked and proud. Shout out to Gaina Fauci, by the way.
Gaina Fauci, what a great guy.
Got to meet that
An
fella.
Irishman, a lad from Ireland, I heard.
He's a fucking big fella. He is.